And I,
It tends to like fall into two categories. You get your category where you get your career criminals that sort of almost become institutionalized as well. But then um, the way I think a lot of people look is it's an occupational hazard. You know, if you get caught, you've got to, you do the time, you do the crime, you do the time, and it's more. Well, if I get done, it doesn't matter anyway because I'm looked after inside. I know tons of people in there, so it's not like the way that the system is. There's not enough rehabilitation going on whatsoever, and you know,
oh, you're totally right. I mean, there's no rehabilitation at all. It's just they just you go in there and then the guy 45 quid and high out, and then that's it basically. And you do your bit probation, and then that's it. But there's no rehabilitation like at all.
no.
All the
And
way.
it's that you went in there, and like you say, you couldn't wait to get out, and you've said to your parents, not a chance on earth that I'm going to find myself back in that place, and um, so at that point, then Scotty, in your mind, had you sort of thought, right, whichever path my brother takes, I'm taking my own path now at this point? Had you sort of,
Oh yeah, but I mean, you see, I mean, even to this day now, the hassle I get off the busies is unbelievable. Like mostly due to my brother because they wanted him off the streets. The what in the in, well in the heart
Mhm.
that's what they did. They got him off the streets. You know, completely off the streets. Um, and I mean, there was an incident where I was 20-year old. I'll never forget it. It was Clifford Street Police Station, and police officer took us in to one side. I got pulled in the car when I was driving, and he took us into Clifford Street Police Station, and he went, "Listen," he says, I can listen. I want you. I can offer you money here. I can offer you £5,000 to set your kid up and put him away." And that happened 3 times. That.
It's crazy.
Oh, dear, it is. It is. But that's the God's honest truth. May God strike me down. That it's unbelievable. That happened. It's just. I mean, I was, so my dad passed away in 2016 from asbestosis. Um, and my mom never left the house for like 5 years because she was looking after him. And 3 days after he died, she fell and smashed her hip, and they didn't repair it properly, and she was like disabled. And she should have been able, like, obviously, once my dad had passed away, my mom should have been like had an easy life then, then now, but she didn't, you know. She was disabled, and because he got, I don't know how much he got, but he got quite a bit of money off the asbestosis claim. But he was just, I mean, the house was paid for. It was paid for. It was paid off, the house, their house. And but the money he got, it was quite a lot of money, and he used to just sit upstairs every night and just buy things, buy. I mean, he bought this car from Sheffield without even looking at it because he had to have a brand new car. And then 3 months later, he ended up getting a car off the mobility of the asbestosis and lost 6 grand on the car. And basically ended up leaving my mum without, she had to just survive on a 500 quid a month pension. So
Which
she was,
must have been difficult as well if she'd obviously had the problem with the hip as well, and then the disability must have been really tough.
oh, well, exactly. Aye, she should have been, she should have been able to enjoy her life after, like, after looking after him for 5 years, not leaving the house, you know, and she couldn't, you
Mm.
know, and
That must have been hard for you, Scotty, as well, to see that for your mum as well.
oh, it was. I mean, I used to take her out when I could. Um, because I used to take her out for a dinner and all that sometimes. So, and actually, she passed away in 2020, and the day before she passed away, I said to her, I just said to her, I says, how are you? I says, tomorrow, I'll take you out for your dinner. Me and my lass will take you out for your dinner. And we'll go and have something to eat. And we had a nice day. We had a lovely day. It was great. And then I said to my lass, I says, I'm going to stay at my mum's tonight, you know. Uh, and when I woke up in the morning, my mum used to wake up early, 6 o'clock, and the heating would be on, because I used to get up about 7, half 7, and the heating would be on, the house would be warm, And when I woke up, the house was freezing cold, and I just knew something was up, you know. I knew, and so I've got up, and her bedroom was like next door to mine. So I've walked past it, and the covers were just rolled up, so you couldn't see anything. And I've shouted in there, "Mom!" But I knew she wouldn't have been asleep in there anyway, so I thought she must be downstairs. And I've started shouting, Mom, and wasn't in the living room. Or she might be doing the washing in the garage. No. So, but I knew at that point, I knew really, but I just didn't want to believe it. You know what I mean? And I went upstairs and pulled the covers back, and she was stone cold. You know, she was stone cold. But I think I think I can take one little bit of solace. Well, two little bit of solaces. While a good day, the day before, we me and my lass taking her out, you know. So that was good. And she did. I don't think she suffered. It wasn't like she shouted for us or anything like that in the middle of the night or whatever. Because she used to have like a little drop of whiskey before she used to go to bed, and that telly was off, so and the whiskey was drunk, so she'd went in her sleep, you
Yeah,
know.
that's
So she didn't suffer, you know. But I just at that point, that was like the worst time in my life. I just buckled. I dropped to my knees basically. It just buckled us, and it just buckled us.
I mean, you'd lost your mum and your dad in the space of 4 years, haven't you? Basically.
But I was closer to my mum. You know, I mean, I was close to my dad. Don't get us wrong, but I was more close to my mum. You know, and it just it buckled us. And obviously, my brother was in prison at that. You know, still, and I had to sort everything out. Funeral, selling of the house, everything. And I thought I was all right, you know. I felt all right. I felt like I was coping, you know. Like my last was saying, "Are you all right? Are you coping all right?" I says, I am. I says, I'm getting through it. I says, I am, man, you know. And got the funeral over with, got the selling of the house over with, um, sold the house. Half the money went to my brother, half went to me. Um, so that went into his bank, like in the jail, you know. And obviously the other half went to me. And I moved into an apartment for in Forest Hall, not far from Walker, but it's a nice area, you know. Nice little area. And I bought a Mercedes AMG. Well, what I wanted was I wanted a Warrior. You know, the pickup Warriors.
The Mitsubishi, yeah.
Yeah, Mitsubishi Warriors. But there was a 3 week waiting list. You know, I'm an impatient. I'm impatient now, you know. And the there was like it was a car supermarket place where on Sandy Lane in Newcastle where I went to buy the car, and there was a Mercedes like garage place next door to where I was going to buy the Warrior, and he come over to us. And he had a Mercedes. He had a Mercedes Black Edition. Him, you know, the 100 grand ones. And he says, look, we've got this one here. He says, and it was on an 80, it was on an 18 plate. It's not 17 plate. Was 3 litre AMG silver. It's on my Facebook pages. If people want to look at it, it's on my Facebook pages. Um, and I treated myself Bretland watch. So I went into, Northern Goldsmiths, and
Nice watches, nice watches.
I thought, I'll treat myself, and hey, when you walk in there, the bloke, it's like that, and he just clicks his fingers, and he's like, "Champagne for Mister Grey here," and it's like you get treated like a king. It's fucking unbelievable. It's fucking, but I suppose if you're spending fucking 3 or 4 grand on a watch, like, they're gonna treat you like that, aren't they? You know. But anyway, so I bought the watch, and moved into this apartment, and I've paid a year's rent up front, and they were like clicky, the people in there. They were like they'd all lived there for years, And me and my lass, we sat outside with them. We tried to, I wasn't working at the time because the plumbing and heating game was fucked at that point now because it's fucked, it's knackered now anyway. So, but it was knackered. But I says, I'm a plumbing and heating engineer, and they didn't, I just, I don't think they believed this, because like the seen the Mercedes and the Bretton watch, and this, young lad, and they just didn't like us, and you could tell, and I had I bought a BB gun, right, a BB gun, and fucking one of the neighbours rang the bezies, and the fucking armed response burst through the door with red dots, and I went, "You've got firearms?" I went, "Fuck, what firearms? What the fuck are you talking about?" I said, "It's a fucking BB gun." And he says, "Well, we're fucking taking it then." He says, "We're taking it anyway," you know. And they were just trying everything. And I was there a year, and the landlord ended up saying, I'm going to sell the apartment, Scott. So you'll have to find somewhere else, you know. So they just didn't want us there, They made their assumptions. They made their assumptions basically, but which was wrong, really, because you shouldn't treat you shouldn't try to judge people when you don't know them like that, really. And we did try because we sat outside with them, we talked with them, we did, it's not like we were sitting outside swearing our heads off, or talking normally and being nice, but it didn't matter, they were just too.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I think in life, Scotty. Sometimes, sadly, you come across certain people, certain individuals, and like you said, they make assumptions. They might see a young guy with a nice car and a nice watch, and put two and two together and come up with seven. So,
Well, that's it,
but
exactly.
so was that around lockdown then? At that point, around 2020.
uh Round about that, I was round about lockdown time that kicked in. I was.
And whereabouts then, Scotty? So obviously, like you've got as we stand now, you've said that you tragically lost your mum and dad in a short space of time, and obviously your brother's still in prison. So, at what point was it that you thought in your head, right? I'm going to get myself back in the gym, and I want to have a crack at the fight game.
Well, I'll just step back a little bit first, because when I lost my mom, um, obviously, like I said, I felt all right. But then about 3 or 4 months later, it just kicked in and I just went on one. I stopped training, you know, for like about 2 years, completely for 2 years. And that was like unheard of for me, and obviously I lost a lot of size and weight. Um, but then about, so I would say I had a bad couple of year, and then about what ended 2022. I thought I got me act together and started to get back into the training in the gym, and because I needed it. My lass says you need to go to the gym. She says because she says that's what you do. That's you. You've always done it, and it makes you who you are. And I've always trained, and it's, because she says I'm an arrogant cunt, but I says there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, but yeah, about 2022, end of 2022. I started to get back into the gym and train, and then I've only had this channel. I only created this YouTube channel a month ago, and I've nearly got. Well, I'm 13 off 700 subscribers now.
No, brilliant.
But I'll be happy once I hit 1K. Like 1,000. That's the mark I want to hit.
You'll get there, mate. You'll get there without a doubt.
Oh, aye, definitely. Hopefully, I like these podcasts and the fight and fights, because obviously I don't intend just to have one fight. I'm gonna knock Andy clean out. I didn't give a fuck what he says. You know, because I've looked back on, and I've studied these fights, and they're just basically like street fights, but in a ring. Because once the bell goes, the two lads just come with mauling each other, and anything can happen in a fight. You can get caught with a right hand bump there, and it's lights out. So and people were commenting on the WhatsApp page because Andy was giving it the biggin, saying he was gonna fucking do this and do that, and he says I'm gonna knock Scott out, and then I'm gonna go for the middleweight championship and all that, and then this lad says, "Listen, anything can happen in a fight." He says, and I told Andy as well. I says, "Listen." I says the biggest mistake you can make is to underestimate your opponent. I says never underestimate who you're fighting. You know. I says I've learned that, and I never do. I never ever do.
And what would you say then, Scotty? So obviously, because like you said, the channel's new, and there's been a couple of call out videos here and there. So what do you say to the people who are saying, well, actually, Scotty G shouldn't be fighting. He shouldn't have a platform to fight. And because there's been a lot of that talk, and
Well, there has. I mean, you've got your haters, and you've got your support, and you've got the people that want to bring you down. I don't know why. People are saying it. They don't know us. Um, they don't know me. They don't know what I can do, what I've been through. The life I've led. It's you know when I mean, no, no, it wasn't even that. Oh, not that long ago. When was it? Oh, beginning of 2021. I was coming under Watergate Metro Bridge, me and my lass in the car, and gets a phone call on the phone. So, well, it was linked up to the Bluetooth, so I've pressed it, and I went, hello? And he went, is that Scott Gray? I went, aye. He went, look behind you, in your rearview mirror. And there was a six car convoy of like Audi Jeeps, all black. He went, listen, he says, you've got two options. He says, either pull over, he says, or we'll take you off the fucking road. I went, what? He went, he says, you've got two options. He says, pull over, or otherwise we'll take you off the road. So I've pulled over, because I know, I never done no wrong. I knew I hadn't done no wrong. And they fucking arrived us out the car. And not one of them was under 6 foot fucking three. And I've made a little joke and I've went, fucking hell, I could not send someone bigger. Do you know what I mean? And it was the National Crime Squad. Fucking think it, suspicion of having a firearm in the car. I says, where's this come from, like? Went, oh, intelligence. I went, well, what intelligence? I says, fucking, you know? So that's it, that's the hassle I was still getting,
yeah, and do you think that's probably going to always be about, isn't it? Unfortunately, just because of
Oh, well, it will be. I mean, because they the me driving down Walker, and a busy who knows the pullers straight away just for nothing, you know. Well, that's how I got banned. I got banned from driving. Um, I got banned from driving. Fucking I went on a bit of a bender because I told you, well, I went on one, and fucking when I lost my head, my arm died, and I've had a few lines of cocaine. I'll admit that. I've had a few lines of cocaine, a few beers on a night out with the lads, and it was about 4 days, 4 or 5 days later. Um, got pulled off the busies 3 times in 2 days, and it even says on Google, I passed the roadside test for cocaine and everything, and alcohol and cannabis, the lot, you know. But they took us to the busy station for a blood test, you know. Now, while any other person fucking, they would have just, they would have fucking just let them on their way once they passed the test. But they
Aye.
had to take me for a blood test. Do you know what I mean? And when it went to court, my solicitor, Greg Stevens, he says, Scott, he says, can it get me head round this? He says, I've actually had to go on Google and look up what they're doing you for. He says it's not cocaine. He says it's 155 mil. It's hard to pronounce, but it's on Google for people to look at if they want to look at it. Of like gloctamine or like glactamol. And what it is it's the breakdowns of cocaine. Like when it's the very, very like last remnants of it when it's been in your system for like weeks. So it's like the very, very, very last remnants of it. And I got an 18-month ban and a 600 quid fine for it. You know?
Yeah. It could have been worse, mate, couldn't it? To be fair, it could have been worse for you. I mean, it's got to be hard having your wheels took away, like, but um at the end of the day, mate, do you know what? You've been through such a trauma with your dad, and then what happened with your mum as well. And like you say, you know you went on a bender, and your head wasn't right, and
Mm.
you know, and at the end of the day, unless people live through the same experiences themselves, you know, a lot of people are too quick to have an opinion these days. That's the problem.
Well, that's it. And the funny thing was, it's not like when the busies pulled us when I was driving. It's not like I was off my face when I was driving. I'd had the lanes 4 or 5 days previously.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So it I was sober as a judge, but because the busies who knew us and didn't like us over the years had to take us for a blood test, didn't they?
aye,
Happy with a roadside test. Any other person driving, pulled, and passed the roadside test, they would have just probably just sent them on their way. But oh no, we'll take it for a blood test, you know. So
yeah.
make
It's
that if you will. But it's all on Google. It's on Google. It is. It's on Google. But like we say, Miss Listac, she had to look it up. You know, it was mad. But my band's up now anyway, so
happy
it's
days, mate. What you can get back on the road again, then, can't you?
aye. That's it exactly. Back on the road now. So happy days.
Mate, today and tomorrow is the first day, and at the end of the day, it's for everybody. Tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life, and anybody can make a choice or choose a path or follow a direction. Um, one of the other things that I'll touch on. What do you say? What sort of reaction to the people as well that seem to be coming out and suggesting that you're addicted to different drugs, and I mean, completely from nowhere these comments come in.
Well, I think it's people because my brother used to sell hard class A drugs. I think it's people. There was a lot of haters down there in Walker
Yeah,
and in Newcastle itself. And other people have probably just jumped on the bandwagon. But I don't know how you can just look at someone and say, well, he's fucking, oh, he's a smackhead or whatever. He's a crackhead. You know what I mean? I mean, Decker Heggie fucking slated Danny Christie. He slated Robbie Brown. And then he made a video slating me as well, calling me a crackhead. And then I'm like, well, fucking, how the fuck do you know? How do you know? How do you know that, like Derek? Yeah, he's a fucking beast. You know what I mean?
yeah. Have you had any communication with Derek Heggie then?
A while ago, he was going to ask us to come on his podcast, but it didn't end up happening. Um, I was actually going to go on Sean Atwood's podcast in 2019. He sent us the tickets through the post, but my mum was still alive then, and she said, "Scott, I don't want you to go on live TV and talk about being in jail and doing like the crime and stuff and things like that. So I I I knocked it back and because she didn't want us to do it. So
Respected your mum's wishes on that one, and
ah, yeah. But she was totally straight as a die. Do you know what I mean? She wouldn't even buy a dodgy cigarette. She was
yeah.
that straight. Uh,
So where then, Scotty? Now at the minute, then where we're at now. So obviously we're what 7? What about 7, 8 weeks away from the fight?
we've got 8 weeks hard training left, and we've got I am 8 weeks going to hammer it for another 8 weeks, and then concentrating a lot on the cardio, you know, and obviously on the bag work. And I'm doing like base bait. Because I asked Simon, I says, how long are the rounds? And he went, they're 2 minute rounds, apparently. So when I'm going to the gym, I'm doing like 3 minute rounds on the bag and like building it up. Like I done like 6 3 minute rounds on the bag yesterday. So I'm just building that up. So
And no one knows. No one knows the capabilities better than you know yourself. So you know exactly what you're capable of doing. Um, the actual training, like you say, weeks hard training now. Are you so a lot of cardio work, bag work? Are you breaking it down? Are you doing like splitting it between morning and evenings, or you're going to break it up?
Well, I normally go for a run in the morning, 3 mile run in the morning, and then the gym in the afternoon. In like a mixture of weights, and then but not so much. See, when I used to train back in the day, it was heavy weights and hardly any cardio, because obviously I wasn't getting in the ring fighting. So, but this time it's a little bit of weights, and massive amount of cardio, and like sit ups and press ups and pull ups, you know. Um,
Cardio's huge in fighting, I think, because
well, that's it. I mean,
your
you
energy's just
know,
that.
I mean, 2 minutes doesn't sound long, but when you're going at it, punching the fuck out of someone, and they're doing the same to you, 2 minutes is fucking like a lifetime.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, completely.
So,
I think it's one of the biggest things that's underrated for a lot of people is the cardio and the fighting, because so many people go in built up strong thinking I've got one clean punch, that's it, they're out, and they get through a round and a half and they're gassed. That's it. They're
well, that did I. Well, I'm not got that's. I'm not going to make that mistake. Like, I knew that I made that decision straight away when I got the fight, because I've had to cut down the weight. I've had to cut down in weight to fight Andy.
right.
Because like normally I'm around about 13 stonish, weigh 13 and a half, 13.5. So I've had to cut down to like 12, like, like 79 k, like
Yeah,
12, about 12 and a half stone, to fight Andy, otherwise he wouldn't have fought us.
yeah. No,
So,
it'll be there, mate. And what I want to say is from my point of view, I remember a post before, and I'd commented and said a lot of people who say no, he shouldn't be fighting, he shouldn't do this. The setup that Simon's got in place at YouTube is so on point. He's got the paramedics there, the referees are there, all the fighters are checked out before fighting and cleared to fight, and everything else. So from that point of view, you wouldn't no fighter would be allowed into a ring if they're you know not in a fit state to do so. And I think
exactly.
people just need to understand that as well. That's a
Yeah.
important point. But I wish you all the best, mate. I really do. I think I want to say a big thank you for sharing your story with me as well, Scotty, because um there's a lot there, a lot of history, a lot of emotion as well. Um,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I hope that people can watch this and actually understand a bit more about who you are and who the person is as well, rather than just you know seeing a flash up video of which I think is really good. And the more that people share stories and people can relate and understand, and like you say, I mean, we've not even touched on how it must have affected your mental health at the point of losing your mum as well and going into that period. And
Yeah, well,
um
it did. It did. It did. It did. I mean, and it still is, you know. I mean, I have me bad, I suppose I have me good days and I have me bad days, you know. So, but obviously the gym helps us a lot. So that's one good that's the good thing. That's the good thing, you know. The gym helps us one hell of a lot. Getting this opportunity to fight, you know. Um, I mean, Andy thinks he's coming in and he's just going to knock us clean out, and you know he, well, he doesn't realize, you know, he's just. I'm not being funny, but he's just a he's just a 9 to 5 normal lad. Really, and he hasn't really like lived the life like I've led. I'm not bigging myself up or anything, but it's a different world, you know, that I come from. And it makes you into a different person, you know, it molds you into a different person, you know. And you know, I've been in situations where, you know, where fucking, I mean, I was in a flat one day. Fucking, I got set up in a flat, upstairs in an upstairs flat, and three kids come running up the stairs and surrounded us, and I had a daft 200 quid Peugeot 206 on the drive. That's all it was. In fact, it was a 100 quid one. It was fucking loud. And I was in this flat, upstairs flat, and these three kids have come in. I knew who two of them were. And one had a bottle of ammonia, one had a hammer, another one had a machete, and they surrounded us, and they went, "We're taking your car." I went, I went, right, well, look there. I says, I'll hide the keys up and slam doing another thing. I went, look there. I says, take the car. I says, but once you take the car, I says, remember, I'm coming for you. And I will come for you. And you know I will. And he tried to threaten us with well-known family from the West End, but it was a load of bollocks. I went, don't talk fucking bollocks. I says, he wouldn't do a thing for you, which they wouldn't. He's a fucking divvy. And I end up battering him a couple of months later, actually. And the other one, that was quite funny, actually. Me and my last pulled up in a taxi, and my last went, that's our kid? Yeah, because he had ginger hair, and he had a pair of shorts on. And I went, fucking hell, I did. So I've got out. I went, here, come here, ye. And he went like that, the guy in the back of his pants. You know, so like for a knife or whatever. And my lasses went when the back he went and went, yes, oh, he hasn't gotten out, Scott. And I just went, fucking bang. Knocked him bum clean out. And fucking got me revenge on him, you know. But he said, like, they took the call, and I said to them, I says, I says, once you take the car and walk down them stairs, I says, I will come for you, and you know I will. And he says, listen, he says, if you try and come for us, you know, shooters or stabbers, he says, I'll get this one, I'll get that one. I says, fuck off, man, will you? I says, they're not digging out for you, which they won't. You
And
know?
that's like an insight basically into your your life really, and the life that you've led and
Being
you've
in them
lived. And,
situations, being like that's just one of them. There's been a few good situations like that, and I'll not put myself in a position in a flattening walker again like that,
mm,
because after after I sold the house, even though I didn't boast about it, obviously I got quite a bit of money for like for half went to walk in and half went to me. And I was down at my pals in Walker, and I was coming out. My car was parked out like a couple of streets away at from his, and I've come out the back, and I've looked down this back lane, and there was a kid all in black, and he's went to shoot us, and he took a shot at us, and I've took a dive, and it's missed, and he's spewed up, and then it was I'll never forget it. It was a Mondeo, it was a black Mondeo, and he jumped in the back, and they've sped off, and his legs were just dangling at the back of the car door like that. And it's what it was it was because I'd come into money. They're like fucking rats, they're like leeches.
do you want a bit of it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No,
Because
it's been.
walkers like living in a goldfish bowl. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone wants to know everyone else's business. Everyone's a grass. Oh, this one's a grass. That one's a grass. But I'm old school, me. I'll not believe anyone's a grass unless I see it in black and white.
Mate, I tell you one thing that I can say about you, and something that comes across very much so in your videos and everything, is that you're very much a hand on your heart, say it as it is person down the line, and I see that the way that you come across in your videos, you come across genuine and real and honest as well, and you just being yourself, and I think just keep doing you, mate. And at the end of the day, these people, like Decker, he says what he said. He don't give you an apology or a response. Do you know what? He's fucking irrelevant. You carry on doing Scotty J.
It's irrelevant to me, Derek, man. Like I said, he cocked with Dougie Joyce, he cocked with Mickey Terrell. Mickey Terrell made a joke saying have a wank on a fucking train again, Decker, man, you know what I mean? And Mickey Terrell would have annihilated him anyway, you know what I mean? He's a fucking machine, Mickey Terrell, man. He's on a different level. He's fucking. Never mind, like.
I think a lot of them do, Scott. To be fair, I mean, Danny Christie, I think his levels to how he was when he last fought Decker in 2019. I mean, when Danny Christie fought Decker November 19, he neither man was fit, really fit to fight. Neither man had trained for the fight for a start,
No.
and but I mean, Danny now compared to Danny 4 years ago is a different animal altogether. He'd take Decker apart. I think
He would. I've got
know.
100% respect for Danny Christie. I think his story's amazing, and the way because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he shows everything what he's been through, and like I say, I've got 100% respect for Danny Christie.
Yeah, same. Likewise, for what he's done, and again, Danny's somebody who he has faced up to his past as well, and he has talked about his past, and he's not hidden it. He hasn't hidden
No, no.
anything. Which, considering the whole thing at the minute regarding paperwork and stuff between Danny and Decker, I mean, to be fair, I don't think Danny needs to show anything personally. I don't think he's
No,
got.
not really, but he doesn't
But,
make no.
well, look, Scotty, let's wrap up for now. It's not the last time we'll talk, mate, because we've got all the build up as well to YouTube Wars. But
Okay.
like I say, I really appreciate you, and giving me the time, and also being so
No
open and
problem.
honest, and speaking openly, mate. Massive respect for that, and I wish you nothing but the best moving forward. And I look forward to seeing you on the 21st of October as well. Um,
Yeah.
and what I'll do, Scott, as well, if you're happy, I'll add your socials in onto the description, and also a link to your channel as well. So anybody watching this, go into the description and you'll be able to find Scotty's socials and Scotty's channel there as well to go over and give him a subscribe and follow. But no, from me, mate. Honestly, I'll obviously keep in touch and see how you're doing over the next few weeks leading up to the fight. And
Definitely, yeah.
yeah, it's been a pleasure, Scott, and I wish you all the best moving forward, mate.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
No, you too, man. Take care, guys. All the links in the description in terms of Scottish socials, and we'll have Scottish YouTube channels in there as well. Also, details about the fight, Bradford. You can get in touch with Scotty if you want to get tickets for October the 21st as well. Um,
Yeah.
all those links in the description, guys. And Scotty, once again, thanks ever so much, and we'll see you on the next one, people.